deplorable. Look, I taught, as I say, 35 years. Early in my career, I did go on strike for one day, and I'm rather ashamed of that now. I regret that. I think it was a wrong thing to do. Young people have gone through a couple of years of lockdown and COVID and all sorts of pressures. So the last thing that teachers need to do now is to go on strike. That doesn't mean to say that teachers haven't got a case, but I think a lot of your viewers will be very surprised to know that according to government's own statistics, the majority of staff in schools are not actually teachers. And there's a lot of classroom assistants and other administrators. And we have a system of education which is very child-centred. So you go into any classroom, primary schools in particular in the country, you're very likely to see one or even two classroom assistants in the room. And that allows the children to work in groups around tables, often with their back to the teacher. It doesn't work and it's very expensive. So there is enough money in the pot to pay good teachers more, but it would mean changing the way we teach. So we go back to a more traditional style, not traditional in Singapore and Shanghai and Japan and so forth, a more traditional style, which is cheaper. And there'll be money left for good teachers. So I'm not against good teachers being paid more. They probably should be paid more. We need to attract good graduates to teach in the classroom. But our system of education is very high maintenance. No one mentions this. The MPs don't understand it. The Select Committee doesn't understand it. And I doubt whether the Secretary of State understands it. It's the way we teach children. It's very expensive. Change the way we teach the children, have fewer classroom assistants. We need some. There'll be more money in the pot, and then pay good teachers more. They deserve more.
But there is an issue, though, because I agree with you, obviously, if they could create a structure that would enable people to be paid better by going back to an older system. But what about the fact that very few people seem to want to be teachers in the first place? So because of a lot of the pressures of the job. So even if you change the system, there wouldn't be enough people wanting to do the job in any case.
Absolutely right, and that is absolutely true. What's putting teachers off teaching is that they're not allowed to teach. They're more likely to be social workers or psychiatrists. You know, these days, but even in primary schools, gender identity, racial diversity, I mean, good causes in many ways, but they actually take up a lot of teachers' time. If you're a math teacher or a physics teacher, and there's a shortage of those, you're probably thinking, well, I'm a math teacher, I'm a physics teacher, but I want to teach. I don't want to be doing social work. And yet it's putting off a lot of teachers. And also there's a crisis because those teachers who are in the profession, within 5 years, I think nearly half of them now are thinking of leaving or want to leave, and a lot do leave. So we have got a crisis. And we don't talk about it because it's not a sexy subject. It's MP. You go to House of Commons, you look at the debates in education, and the room and the chamber empties. People in Parliament aren't that interested. But it's probably the most important debate we could possibly be having because we're talking about the future of our country, of our children. And we have to make sure that teachers actually are well rewarded. What I'm saying is that we have a very expensive system, which not only doesn't work, it is also costing a lot of money. We have to change the way we teach. And we can then raise standards and we can pay good teachers more. I don't want to pay poor teachers more. It's no good saying that all teachers are heroes like the Education Secretary does. They're not all heroes. There are great teachers, there are average teachers, and there are poor teachers. The good teachers definitely need to be paid more, and they should be an attraction for young graduates coming into the profession, that they can be well paid. But most of all, we need to get back to some idea of teachers actually being teachers of a subject or of children in a primary school. They teach several subjects. So it's really about saying, look, it's a teaching job, you'll be allowed to teach. You're not allowed to teach these days as much as you are to do social work, which is not what most teachers want to do. They want to teach.